Someone asked me today if I think that men realize that they're exploiting women's labor for their own benefit. And I thought about this for about 3.5 seconds before I instantly realized, yes, I do. Yes, I do believe that they know.
Men know 100% that they're exploiting women, and the reason that I know is because they won't give women their due credit. If men weren't exploiting women, they would be honest and talk about the things that women actually do for us.
Men wouldn't last long without women. But women? Most of them would do just fine without men, and there's actual science behind that.
I don't normally do the whole AI thing, like I don't really show videos or care for videos like that are AI generated or whatever, but the information in these videos, the information, pretty solid stuff. Things that if you are in these spaces enough, you heard it 1,000 times, or you read it, or you read the study, or whatever. So it's kind of like stuff that we know to be true. But I just like how they explain it, and I really want to. I really just want to have the conversation around how much more developed women are and females are and all of that stuff than males are, um because we need to, like somebody said, like, where should women be? Like I saw a video the other day, and I was reading the comments, and somebody in the comments was like, where should women be, like outside of being in the kitchen or something like that? And I said, in leadership. I was like, that's where women should be. Like right now, we need women to lead us. We need women to lead us as a society, not individually. Now, I don't think it's a woman's job to lead me, or anything like that. But if we want to see society actually, flourish one day, and we want to get out of these dark ages, I think it has to be led by women right now. I think they're the only group of people that can do it. I mean, of course, there are some men that you could sprinkle in there, but overwhelmingly, it should be women, or female leadership in place. Um, there might be some science to this. I'm very reluctant personally to believe that women are like better than men, quote unquote. And the reason why isn't because it affects me at all. I don't give a fuck personally. The reason why is because I don't want us to lose sight of the socialization, and the thing that I deem to be the most destructive, um, uh, force when it comes to men is coming from the things that we are taught, not the things that we embody naturally. You know, but it's still an interesting thing to talk about, and we should talk about it. We need to discuss it for sure. Men use women all the time. Men use women all the time. Just being in close proximity to women gives you, all types of respect from men just from being around women. Just having access to women. I've been in groups like with my wife. You go out with 4 or 5 women, and it's just you. You're like the lone man, or it might be one or two dudes. Like dudes looking at you like, damn, how you end up in that situation? You know, I used to go around with a group of women and girls when I was younger. I had a ex girlfriend, and she had 2 sisters, and we would go everywhere. And dudes would be like, "Dog, you got to hook me up with her sister." You da 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 da. Like I got a lot of respect just from being in that circle. You know what I mean? I get a lot of respect when I go out the house with my wife. Like people, like men are like, good job, man. So men use women in so many ways. That's just one way I'm saying that men use. I don't use my wife in that way, but I'm just saying like men often use their women, to get attention from other men. And men use their women to do, or men use women in general, to do straight up labor, just like straight up hardcore labor for men. Women do a shit ton of labor for men.
Someone asked me today if I think that men realize that they're exploiting women's labor for their own benefit. And I thought about this for about 3.5 seconds before I instantly realized, yes, I do. Yes, I do believe that they know exactly what they're doing. They know they're exploiting us. They know they're taking advantage of us. They just feel completely entitled to it.
Men know 100% that they're exploiting women, and the reason that I know is because they won't give women their due credit. If men weren't exploiting women, they would be honest and talk about the things that women actually do for us and how they actually are like the engine that drives us societally. We would just give them all their props and just be like, no, but you can't do that because men know and think, and naturally it would happen, but women know their worth. I think women as a group know their worth, but um, or close to it. I don't even think women actually as a group know their worth. I don't think women as a group know how truly powerful they are. I don't think they do. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think they do though. I truly don't. But it's close. They're close enough, right? A lot of women do. If not, if you could say most, then most. But yeah, not a lot of women know their worth. They know how much women actually contribute. But and men know too. But we know that if we tell women that, then we acknowledge that they're the real leaders, that they really drive the engine, that it's not about like, oh, well, what would you do if men didn't work these hard jobs, and all that stupid ass shit. Then we got to start paying women what they're worth. We got to start protecting women. We got to start, tell, hey, we need more women in leadership. We need them to run the deal. We need them to run that. They need to run the country. Maybe they need to it opens up Pandora's box. So men by default aren't going to give women their props.
They just feel completely entitled to it. In their view, this is how it should be. We owe it to them just because they're men.
That and because we hold all the weapons and we are most willing to use them. So, we control women through fear and threat of violence.
Men wouldn't last long without women, but women, most of them would do just fine without men, and there's actual science behind that. Men rely way more on women for emotional support, stability, and even basic survival behaviors than the other way around. In long-term studies, men's health tanks after breakups or divorce. Higher stress, worse sleep, worse diet, higher risk of heart problems, and even earlier death. Women, on the other hand, are more likely to build wider support networks, talk about their feelings, and adapt socially without one specific partner. Biologically, men are wired to chase risk and...
But remember, women are the ones that are going to die alone with their cats, as if that's a bad thing. But they leave out the fact that they'll have a robust, support group. Men gonna die alone next to their pit bulls.
Biologically, men are wired to chase risk and short-term reward. Women are more wired to manage safety, connection, and long-term planning, the stuff that actually keeps life running. That doesn't mean women don't love men. It just means they're not dependent on them in the same way. So when you joke that she'd be lost without me, reality is your brain and your body are probably leaning on her way more than you realize.
That video, that is such the simple truth that men need to accept and stop acting like I talk to so many men that be on that like, I put my wife through school, I did this, I did everything is and I'm sitting there like, bro, that woman is a force with or without you. You wouldn't be able to tie your motherfucking shoelaces without that woman, I guarantee you. Because even when you say you put her through school, what does that mean? You worked a fucking job? That's all you did. It's always that. They never talk about like the men that be claiming that they do, because that was like something that I heard recently. So I'm sorry if I'm talking about that. But like the things that men talk about when they talk about putting a woman through school, they never talk about actually supporting her beyond financially. They never talk about the things that they like picking up the slack, helping out with the kids more, clean, cleaning more, cooking more, whatever it is, whatever it is, right? It's never that. It's usually, I put her through school. I put her through school. Cool. Whoop-de-doo. She could have got a fucking FAFSA. She could have got a loan. She could have got, you know what I mean? Like, so fucking what? You put her through, you paid. Okay, cool. You're going to work a job anyway. What did you actually do though? and in her going through school also is going to benefit you as well. And you know that. So you can't even act like, oh, I was being selfless. You weren't. Absolutely not. She'll go from making $35,000 a year to making $70,000 a year. You don't think that's going to benefit your household? You know it will. That ROI is high as fuck if you put a woman through college. Trust me, I know. I've seen it.
Did you know that women are smarter than men? Not in every way, but in ways that actually matter for survival. Female brains develop sooner, mature earlier, and remain stable for longer. They process emotions more clearly and read micro-expressions faster. They also detect danger sooner and form long-term strategies with far fewer impulsive errors. Research shows women outperform men in memory, emotional intelligence, decision-making under pressure, and recognizing subtle social cues.
Wait, so women are built better for pressure than men are? Who would have thought the people that can give birth to children would be better at pressure-filled situations? Huh. Ain't that some shit?
Decision-making under pressure, and recognizing subtle social cues, skills that many men completely overlook. Meanwhile, male brains burn more energy, lean heavily on risk-taking circuits, and peak earlier before declining faster with age. And here's the surprising part. Women have a biological edge in neural connectivity, meaning the left and right hemispheres of their brain communicate more efficiently, which makes multitasking and complex reasoning easier and faster. So, no, it's not a competition, but if you're wondering why she remembers a detail from 5 years ago while you can't recall breakfast, well, now you know the actual reason behind it.
Now, I know that wasn't Tyson, but anyway, I really love what he said though, because again, you don't need to even read the studies to know this. That's the thing. Like, I've talked to so many people. I've seen it so many times over and over and over again. And I'm like, what do you guys think this is? These men will try to make you like not believe the things that you see with your own eyes. You know what I mean? They'll try to convince you like you're crazy. They'll really try to gaslight you to an oblivion just so you don't recognize what women actually do and how women actually contribute to society. It's wild. I've brought up this before to men about how when women, like an example of all that was just said is how women can go out in the world, work a job, work the same amount of hours as a man, have a fucked up day, come home and show up for her family like nothing happened. He wouldn't even know. The kids they don't even know. A man goes out in the world, works a job, has a bad day, comes home, everybody knows, everybody feels it. Dad's acting weird. He sat in his car for 45 minutes in the driveway. He's being short. He's not helping to clean. He's not talking. He's withdrawn. He started drinking a lot. He's watching the game. He's disconnected. He's non-responsive. But y'all want to sit up here and talk about men are the providers. Men are built to provide. We're not. Women are. Women can go out in the world and work a stressful job, take it like a fucking champ, come home and help everybody out and handle the stresses and rigors of home. Men can't handle the stresses of work nor the stresses of home. You know, these are muscles that men aren't willing to develop. And you can develop these muscles. You can get better at this interpersonally, individually, you can. But why would we when we have created a whole system that saves us, that masks our shortcomings and our inefficiencies and our inabilities? Why? That system inherently makes us lazy. It makes us not want to work. It makes us not be driven to work. Why would we? Doesn't make any sense, right? And then you got women, they need to work 2, 3, 4 times harder just to get a job, just to get a promotion, just to get into college, just to, you know what I mean? Like all of these things. And then you wonder why, if biologically they're already, stronger and tougher than us, then like you wonder why the relationship dynamics aren't working interpersonally, because they're also socialized to be stronger than us. And then they get with men and they have to dumb themselves all the way down, and they have to settle and all of these things just so they can be in a relationship with the man. Then the shit goes astray and the men don't take any accountability, and the women are like, I don't know why I ever gave that motherfucker a chance. Right?